So now we'll turn it over to Eric to do a demo of the SyncDog client and administrative console. We'll start by showing you how to set up a new user and provision that user, and then we'll show you all the great features of the full solution. So with that, go ahead and dive on in, Eric.
Okay, thank you, Brian. So first, we are going to take a look at the console. Our management console is, you'll notice, broken down hierarchically. Our organizations are organized in a hierarchical manner. We can attach users at any level in the organization. This will become important a little later on when we dive into policies, because policies are actually applied hierarchically, so that we don't have to create policies for every individual user. We can actually create overarching policies at the very top and then apply them as necessary as you go down the tree. We can get very granular. So what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to create, show you how easy it is to actually create a user here, and then start provisioning a device against that user, because so users are attached to organizations and devices are attached to users. So we're going to go ahead and call this a user at demotest.com. And call this user demo. And we're just going to create him.
And so you see, the only data we really need to create a new user is as an email and a username. You can also put in a mobile number if you do want to push out some information about the provisioning through SMS, but otherwise that's all the information we need.
Yep, that is correct. So now we can go back to this user, and here he is. And then to provision the device, there's actually a couple of different ways. I do want to mention that there's is a couple different ways. We don't have to create users individually necessarily. There's a couple different ways we can do it. We can actually do we have bulk import feature, and we can also sync with Active Directory. So to actually provision a brand new device on this, we're gonna generate a QR code. And then over here in our SyncDog application, which we pulled down off of the App Store, we're going to say scan QR code. And it grabs the QR code with the camera as you turn it on. And we are almost there. Now you're required to enter a password for entry into the application, or if you've already set up biometrics on the application, it will use that, but you have to create a password initially. So I'm just going to create a demo password.
And since we're all used to wearing masks where sometimes biometrics don't work, this is also the backup to when biometrics might not fire correctly.
And is there any need for a profile like you would need to use with mobile device management?
No, that's the elegance of this solution, that it works independently of MDM profiles. If you already have MDM technology on your devices or within your organization, we work hand in hand with that. But this works equally well in a BYOD scenario or scenarios where you do not want to, or you don't have to put a device profile. So it works very elegantly with personal phones, corporate phones to add more security. But no device or MDM profile needed, device profile.
And are you also able to wipe the device?
If you're using our MDM solution, you can wipe the entire device, but that rarely is something you ever want to do. And again, the elegance of this solution is you're able to just wipe your corporate or government data off of that device while leaving any personal apps or personal data intact without ever touching that. So it creates a nice separation of work and personal, but also respects the personal privacy of the end user as well.
So just the information within the SyncDog app gets deleted.
That's exactly right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I created the password. I fat fingered it once or twice and it didn't match, but that's a security feature. Obviously, we want those passwords to match, so you don't want to forget it. And now I'm actually going to provision the email. So we have an email address here, demo@secure.systems. And we are going to go ahead and authenticate against that account. And we're done. So, within a minute or so, we have a freshly provisioned device, and all of the email is then going to start loading onto the device. Email, calendar, contacts, everything's going to sync automatically.
So if any of you have ever tried to provision an MDM solution and add users and get a new user up and running, to be able to get a new user up and running in a matter of just a minute or so is a challenge I'd put forth to any other solution out there.
And then what happens if you lose a device or a device gets stolen or something like that? How do you handle the data that's on that device that's either gets lost or stolen?
Well, the nice part, the whole sync of SyncDog is that all the data within our environment is constantly syncing with backend servers. So if somebody were to lose a device, leave the organization, or whatever is in between, you can obviously pull all that data right off of that device. And if they find their previous device or end up getting a new one, you just do that simple provision like you just saw. It takes another minute and they're right where they left off. So no loss of data because it is always syncing with your back end.
Okay, thank you.
Another great question.
Yeah. And so now we're going to just start taking a look at some of the functionality, special functionality that we have in the Trusted Mobile Workspace. We have email, calendar clients, all the expected PIM applications, but we'd like to dive in a little bit deeper and show you some of the stuff because of our integrated environment that we're able to accomplish within the one workspace. So I have a document here, an email with an attached document, and we're just going to go and take a look at it. And I can go down and make some modifications to it. We'll say, this is a good review.
So while Eric's doing that, what's important to note here is I kind of want everybody to think about what he just did there. So he was obviously in an email, had an attachment. I don't even know if this is a PDF or a Word document, Eric. But regardless, working within a document, and he's not just simply viewing the document. And if you think about what most people do with their mobile devices still today, even though the promise 10 years ago was all these productivity gains, most people still use their devices to simply view content, open emails, look at websites, view various data and apps. But what we're trying to do is change that dynamic and bring more productivity tools. So you get an attachment where somebody says, hey, can you go and edit, this Word document, add some context to it? Is it a spreadsheet, adjust a row or a column or a cell, PowerPoint adjusting some things, even sign a PDF. If you're in, a legal form or executive form where you're often signing legal docs, just imagine being able to go in, open a document from an email, edit it in the way you would, and then just be able to save it off and then move it forward as you normally would. But what's most critical, in a completely secure fashion, moving from one app to another, moving data from one to another in a secure fashion from end to end.
And where's the doc stored?
So we have an internal file system, which is encrypted and secured within the Trusted Mobile Workspace container. So you never have to actually leave the confines of the Trusted Mobile Workspace to be able to move documents around and edit them and send them back out in emails. So all of your data remains secure.
Yeah, maybe you could even show them the file manager, Eric, and show how you can pull some docs out of there and just move them along.
Yep. So, I've got, we keep everything segmented into briefcase, documents, and images. And so what we'll do is we'll actually take this document that we had saved a little earlier, and we'll go and email it. I'm going to email this off to Brian, and please review. And at the same time, let's add in a document from our briefcase, and we'll go ahead and
whole different function where it's more of a general broadcast type of environment that everybody that has access to that individual or that specific briefcase will be notified of new documents, and they can share documents across. Think of HR functions, new corporate policies, new training manuals, videos, that kind of stuff that you want to broadcast out to certain groups.
Yeah, and then I also added an image too, and we're just going to send this email off to Brian. Again, all within the confines of the trusted mobile workspace.
Yeah, it could be interesting to show, even the picture you have in file, but how it separates Eric from personal.
Right. So we have, as everybody knows, there's the camera roll that's actually on a user's device. Right. Everybody is familiar with the with their personal camera rolls. I have a picture from outside my house. I can actually go into the trusted mobile workspace, and we have our very own camera, and I can go and take a picture of something here in my office. Look at it in the images, and here's the photo I just took. Yet if I go out to the personal camera roll, that photo is not there, right? So there is a clear line of delineation between the trusted mobile workspace camera roll and your personal photos.
So obviously not something that every industry needs, but if you are one of those that do have to take pictures for work, police forces, insurance, manufacturing, all kinds of businesses and industries need to have work-specific photos. This keeps it nice and separated. But more importantly, you can create automated workflows that as soon as that picture is taken, it is synced to back-end servers and disseminated out to the normal people who would need to have access to that, so that the end user, the employee, doesn't have to go fumbling around with pasting in an email or messaging it through a messaging app and finding all those documents. So it really builds greater efficiencies into those processes as well.
Yep. So since it just basically makes sure that sensitive data can be confined to the trusted mobile workspace, thus greater sense of security. Okay, so what I also like to show now is our embedded mobile threat defense. We have courtesy of Zimperium. So this actually shows if there are any threats on the device. Not that we are saying that this would impact the trusted mobile workspace. It will not, because all of our data is encrypted and secure. But we are including this service so that a user can see if there is some sort of threat on the device. This data also gets synced back to the server. As you can see here over on my management console, the administrator can see at a fairly high level if there are devices out there that do meet, the mobile threat metrics. And they are highlighted here. I'll click on these. You can actually see that there's 2 devices out here that are considered that have high risk mobile threats available on them. And we can actually go and take a look and see why these were flagged.
And do I need another license for that mobile threat defense?
No, you don't. It's actually included in our licensing model, and it's actually included in our download too. So there's no additional steps to have it included. There's no additional integrations. It's already fully integrated. And what's really nice about this is, as Eric alluded to, our whole focus as a product and a company is making sure all your corporate or government data is always protected on these mobile devices. But by adding a mobile threat defense, it also enables you to further protect your employees' personal side of their devices, the personal apps and files and data. So when it does a scan of the whole device, you can add some added value to them to say, listen, we're going to maintain complete control of all of our work-related information, but we also want to help you protect your personal side as well.
So I can see on this Android device that I've picked out, there's actually a suspicion. This is an Android device that we just have on file at the moment. There's a what Zimperium considers to be a suspicious Android application. So that kind of thing would get flagged. The really cool part about all this is that we can actually go then and take actions based on these threats. So that's where we end up going over to our policy section. So we actually have a wide library of policies available, and you're able to even create more of these. You know, it is to the limit of your imagination, and things that we haven't even thought of, we can actually create policies to do as well. So our mobile threat defense policy right now, we can actually say that if a high risk is detected on the device, we can go wipe the device. If a medium risk threat is detected, we can lock the container. And the locking of the container would then require the user at least to contact the administrator back and get an unlock code once the threat has been cleared. You know, the administrator can report back, well, this is what it's actually saying is, you know, creating the medium risk, and then unlock the device once the threat is cleared. We also have the ability with any of these policies to specify the dates on which the policy is going to be in effect, even on a daily basis, what time these policies should be enacted, as well as geofence zones. So we can actually say, let's create a geofence zone. We don't want pictures being taken around the White House. So let's see, it's 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
So is this solution, is this, you know, all these different policies and so forth, is this like a one size fits all, or can our admin actually go in and create different policy levels for different users? So like, you know, the execs have a certain level of access or certain policies that apply to them, and, you know, somebody in accounting has a different set of policies that apply to them?
Well, this is where the real power of our system comes in, because you can actually define policies up at the root organization, and then tailor specific policies to organizations down the tree, and then even to users or even devices. So you have very granular control over where policies are applied and how the devices are supposed to behave. So we don't actually have to, you don't actually have to go create policies for individually for every user. You can create overarching policies and then apply. They are applied down the tree hierarchically.
And this is a major differentiator from other technologies in the market. Most of them, if you say you have a set of 150 policies, obviously it could be more, it could be a lot less, that you want to apply. If your executive team has 4 or 5 different policies, or you need to adjust 4 or 5 different policies than say mid-level management, and maybe it's 10 or 15 different ones than accounting, as you brought up, you have to go and recreate all 150 of those policies for each group that you want to have some variation. With SyncDog, it's completely different. Every level adopts the level above it, but anything you do at that individual level will supersede something above it. So those 4 or 5 differences you just create at that level, and it will adopt those those closest to the organization type policies. So what normally takes days to weeks and even sometimes months depending on your organizational size, is really minutes to hours in our setup. So a lot of times that administrative setup and rollout of these types of solutions are the biggest burden, and we've gone to great lengths to change that dramatically. It's very simple in our environment.
Thank you.
And that actually concludes the demo portion of this. Brian, you have anything else to add here?
Yeah, I mean, the quick summary of all this is, and hopefully it was conveyed in the demo, is that we've gone, well, hopefully you realize that we've got the the best, we've got exceptional security, if not the best security for, an off-the-shelf type of solution in the market. But what's key for us is we want that to be behind the scenes. We want your security teams and IT teams and administrative teams to know that they can trust the environment and push more and more data, and that security is there. But the key is to make this very easy to use for your end users, so they don't believe it's hey, I have to use this even though I'm losing all this functionality, but it's more secure. The key here is this is a more functional, a more productive environment that they're going to want to use. It's easy to use. It's easy for admin to set up, and the security is just always behind the scenes, that you can sleep at night knowing that your data will always be protected. And hopefully that came through in the demo, and we encourage you to even try it out for yourself. Do a test run of it, so you can see for yourself how it works in your environment.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Eric, for the great demo.
It was my pleasure.